Welcome to the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. My name is Katie Dodd, and I'm a nutrition entrepreneur. I spent 7 years as a side hustler before diving into entrepreneurship full time. Before making the leap, I was bringing in 6 figures through my side hustle. If I can do it, you can too. This podcast is for dietitians, interns, and students who want to be inspired to start or perfect the side hustle of their dreams. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to the 173rd episode of the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast, The Gap. Now, I'm going to be sharing a little snippet of a Facebook Live that I did a couple weeks ago in the Dietitian Side Hustle community. If you weren't aware, every Monday, almost every Monday, at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, I go live in the Facebook group. So this is a wonderful opportunity. If you ever want to catch me live, this is where to find me. I talk about all kinds of different things. I even have an archive of all of the live shows I've done. So it's kind of like a little version of the podcast. If you haven't checked it out, be sure to go join the Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, search Dietitian Side Hustle. You'll find us. We have over 5,000 members in that Facebook group, and it's so fun. So I am going to be sharing a little snippet of that live show. It was short. It was like 12 minutes, I think. But you're going to hear me talk about it, but I feel like lately I've been obsessed with the gap. So what I mean by the gap is that is the space between where you are now and where you want to be. I think all of us can look back at a dream we once had that we're now living in. Thinking of, for most of us who are dietitians or NDTRs, thinking of one day you had a dream. You were at the starting point. Maybe you were in school and you changed majors. Maybe you were going into school and you knew immediately you wanted to become a dietitian, but that was where you were in that moment and you had this dream of becoming a dietitian. And the time between like where you were and the dream, that is the gap. And what did it take to close that gap? Now, for many of us, there were little hiccups on the journey to anything we've tried to achieve, right? And so I'm so obsessed with this idea of the gap because I look at dietitians who are entrepreneurs, who are side hustlers, and I'm always on this quest is what is the difference between dietitians who have success and those who don't? Those who are able to take their biggest, wildest, craziest dreams, where I am now, big crazy dream, close the gap, make it a reality. I feel like a lot of my story as a side hustler and now full hustler has been a series of gap closing. And so as I'm on this journey to help all of you pursue your biggest dreams, I'm just so obsessed with the gap because I want to help you close the gap. And you're going to hear me talk more about this. So I'm not going to go into it right now, but I just feel like this is something that I'm going to continue talking about moving forward because it really is important to understand where we are, where we want to be, what obstacles might get in the way, and make a plan on what we're going to do to overcome those obstacles because it's not a matter of if they will come, but it is when they will come. I really love this. I think I found it like on Facebook or Instagram and it says big words, you will fail. And it sounds silly when I say this, but I love that. You will fail. I love that because I used to fear failure. I used to think that if I failed, I did something wrong. Like I wasn't meant to do this. What's wrong with me? Part of that perfectionist problem. But now I see failure with such a different lens. And I look at failure as the best teacher and an indicator that I tried. And also for me, because I don't give up, I know that it is just another stepping stone to actually achieving my big dreams, to closing that gap. So I said I wasn't getting the weeds, and I did, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and cut in that episode. I hope that you enjoy it. A couple things, I guess, before we dive into that. I'm going to be launching my blogging as a business webinar on November 15th, 2023. You can go to katiedodd.com. That is my link tree. Get registered. Even if you've attended in the past, go sign up. Sometimes we need that little boost of like, oh yeah, I do want to blog as a business. I want to make money blogging. Also coming up in about a month is the Practice Revolution Live. I still have a $75 off coupon code. If you use my affiliate link, go to katiedodd.com. That code is there. It's not too late to come. Come see me, hang out with me for 3 days. I'm going to be teaching there. I'm probably going to be talking about the gap because I'm obsessed with it. And it's just going to be an incredible event. So here is the Facebook Live. And thank you so much for listening to the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. Enjoy. So what I want to talk to you guys about is the gap. Now, what do I mean by the gap? So what I'm really talking to you about is a model that I use for myself. This is a model that I use when I get on coaching calls. But one of the things that I'm always looking at when I'm trying to help people in their business, in their side hustle, is I'm trying to figure out what is their gap. The gap is the in between where you are now and where you want to be. So we have to take time to reflect on where we are right now. Are you someone who has a side hustle? You're working a full-time job, you're a full-time entrepreneur, you are still a student, maybe you are a dietitian and you haven't started your side hustle. Like, where are you right now? Right now, with everything going on in your life related to even business, even personal, all the things. But then we dream 1 year from now, 2 years from now. It really depends on you. I think 1 to 2 years is a good range. But imagine that we were having a conversation 1 year from now and you were living your dream life. Like those big dreams that you have that you've been too scared to speak out into the world because they seem totally crazy. Like, what if those dreams weren't crazy? What if they were possible? What would your life look like? Like, what's the dream? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be more than anything? Even if it seems unrealistic, even if it seems crazy, even if your head tells you that's not possible, where do you want to be? So I will tell you guys, I'm a believer that you can do anything you want to do. Now, the path might look different. It's going to take some commitment, some sacrifice. There's going to be ups and downs, but you can do anything you want to do. We are so lucky to live in a day and age where we have access to the World Wide Web. We can make limitless impact and limitless income. The biggest thing that's going to hold us back is ourselves. So as we are looking at our big dream, where am I now and where do I want to be? The question is for you, what is your gap? What is the gap between where you are now and where you want to be? What is going to hold you back from reaching that dream state? Now, we all have different gaps. For some of us, it is, I don't have the time. Or probably more realistic, it's not a priority enough for me to find the time. But for a lot of us, I just don't have the time. Some of us, I don't have the skill set for what I want to do. I have no idea how I would do that. Some of it could be mindset. A lot is mindset. It sounds so weird if you're not used to mindset, but a lot of what holds us back is ourselves. It could be confidence. It could be you feel like, man, I haven't been the dietitian long enough. I need to get a specialty credential. I need to get X amount of hours or experience in this area. I need to work with more patients. Maybe you feel like you need to do X, Y, and Z first. Maybe you're a perfectionist and you get in your own way. You feel like you have to know all the answers before you can get started. I will tell you guys, we got to get started, and that's how we learn the things and get better. But what is it that's holding you back? Is it you want to do something online, but you're scared of tech? Is it that maybe you want to be a blogger like me, but you're like, man, I suck at writing? Like, what is the thing that holds you back? What is your gap? We all have them. From where we are now to where we want to be, what is the gap? Now, once we figure out what is in the way, that is where we can start to work on overcoming the gap, or you think of it as a wall. Right? I'm here. I want to be here. I'm going along my journey. Boom, I hit a wall. What is your wall? Now, you can get past that wall. You can close the gap, but it starts by realizing what is your gap. And you might have lots of things, right? It might not just be one wall. You might have like lots of different walls. You get past one, like, shoot, there's another one. That's okay. That's life, right? But the question is, how bad do you want to get to the other side? How bad do you want that dream? And if you want that dream more than anything, then by golly, we got to make a plan. How do you get over that wall? You can climb the wall. You could like get a sledgehammer and break it down. You can get some like dynamite and blow it up. You could like get a cool catapult and catapult yourself over it. Maybe wear a bubble suit so you don't get injured on the other side. If you're like, forget that, forget this wall, I'm like going to maybe take a boat or take a different path around it. Or maybe you're going to create a new bridge or a new path. Like there's so many ways to get through the wall, to get around the gap. But a lot of it takes sitting down and thinking, right? I feel like we don't do this enough, guys. We don't take the time to sit down and think uninterrupted, no screens, no family, no kids, no anything, time to just sit and dream. Where am I? Where do I want to be? What is my gap? What is holding me back? And once we understand what that is, we can start making a plan to overcome it. So typically things that can help you overcome the wall, if you're like, okay, I understand what holds me back, but now what do I do? A few things. Now, I will tell you, I could talk for hours about this subject, but there's a few things that I found help me and that I've seen help other dietitians and other people who are either starting a side hustle, doing online business, doing business in general. Part of it's community. Maybe you're in the wrong rooms with the wrong people. Maybe you need to be around the right community, the right kind of thinkers, the right kind of dreamers, the right kind of people who are going to help you get over that wall, right? Maybe you're getting over your wall is like other dietitians boosting you up over, right? I did a mud run years ago, and I worked at the VA for 13 years, and I did this mud run. It was my first one ever, and it was horrible. Like, it was horrible. I thought I was pretty physically fit, but what I realized is I was the only one in the group who's not a veteran. They're all like, "This reminds me of boot camp. This is awesome." And I'm like, "This is horrible." Like, we're running up hills. I live in Oregon. It was really fun. I was glad I did it. But in the moment, I'm like, what am I doing? So there were these walls that we would have to climb over. And I'm like, I can't get over a wall. So I literally had coworkers who were veterans lifting me up and throwing me over walls. That's how I got done it. That's how I got through this race. So maybe you need the right community who's going to help you get over that wall, right? To help you to dream big, to not poo-poo on your ideas, to not tell you, "Oh no, that's not safe. Oh, who do you think you are? Oh, are you sure that's going to work for you?" You need to be around the right communities. Maybe you need the right tools. Maybe you don't have the tools you need to do whatever it is you want to do. You need to take an online course. You need to find a coach. You need to find someone who's doing what you want to do so you could learn from them, from their successes and failures, and get to the other side. Maybe you just need accountability. I think a lot of us, we are working at home in a silo, and whether we fail or succeed, who's going to know, right? So maybe you just need the accountability, someone to hold you accountable to the things you said you were going to do because you really want to achieve them, right? So I will tell you from my journey, when I was a dietitian side hustler, working a full-time job, mom of 2 kids, doing some awesome side hustles, blogging, freelance writing, webinars, all kinds of things, making passive and active income. My dream that I didn't think was possible is I wanted to leave the VA, which when you get in the VA, you don't leave, you stay until you retire. But I actually wanted to leave the VA, even though I didn't speak that out into the world too often because it was scary. I wanted to leave the VA, and I wanted to be home with my kids. I wanted to be able to drive them to school in the morning. I wanted to be able to be here when they get home, which is going to happen in 7 minutes. Help them with their homework, spend quality time with my kids while they're still in the house. My son, I feel like I was just pregnant with him, guys, and he's almost 13. Next month, he'll be 13. And it's crazy to me. So my big dream was that I wanted to quit my job at the VA so that way I could be more present with my kids while they were still in the home. That was my dream. But my gap was I had no idea how I was actually going to do it. I honestly didn't believe it was possible. And I had a lot of mindset stuff that held me up. So how I got over my wall, how I closed the gap. For me, it was joining a business mastermind. It has been taking online programs. It has been having the right tools, the right community, the right accountability, and continuing to work on my mindset every single day. Because I can tell you, on your journey to achieve your dreams, we tend to think it's these outside factors that are going to hold us back, right? We tend to think like, okay, it's going to be, oh, I'm not going to have enough time. This isn't going to work because of this person, because of that, because the academy, whoever we want to blame. But the truth of the matter is, the biggest thing that's going to get in your way on whatever you want is going to be you. It's really a battle of you versus you, and this battle in our mind. And so for me, that's why having the right community, having accountability, having a group I could go to, a coach I could go ask questions, pivot, twist, and turn as I was on my journey, it helped me get to a place that I never thought was possible. So I'm looking at the time. I hope that this is kind of a helpful concept to talk about, because again, I think that we're too busy too often and we don't give ourselves time to dream. So if this connected with you, if you're like, yes, I hear you, I understand, I got a big gap, I want to close it. What I would encourage you to do is to find time, uninterrupted time, put it in your calendar. You can go to a coffee shop. You could lock yourself in the closet if you have kids, like wherever you can find quiet time, and sit down and write down the things. Where am I now? Where do I want to be? What is my gap? What is going to hold me back from achieving the big things I want to achieve? And then finally, what am I going to do about it? Pick 3 steps, 3 things you're going to do to continue to move forward. Because I know that you're all in this community for a reason. You want to do something more, whether or not it is a side hustle, or maybe it is because you want to have a full hustle, which just means you're a full-time entrepreneur, right? So we all have big dreams. They're possible. We just got to figure out what our gap is and make a plan to close it. So I hope this message was helpful, and I appreciate you all so very much. If you're new to the community, welcome. If you've been around for a while, thanks for hanging out. You can go to katiedodd.com. This is my Linktree page. This is all the different ways that we could work together. It's always changing, right? I mean, like right now, I'm really promoting the Practice Revolution Live because it's going to be an incredible in-person event. And my webinar, once I have the link, it should be done today, but once I have the link to register, it'll be up there. But honestly, you can find all the ways we could work together. I've got a podcast, I got a website, I got all kinds of resources to help you guys on your journey. So I hope that you guys have the best week, and I will see you guys next time on the Dietitian Side Hustle Live Show. Bye, guys. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode, which was also an episode of the Dietitian Side Hustle Live Show, and enjoyed just really diving into this conversation of the gap. And I really hope that you guys take the time to do those action items that I spoke about. I am a big fan of taking things out of our head and putting it on paper. There is power in putting things on paper. So thank you guys so much for listening. I know I said it as I wrapped up the live show, but be sure to go to katiedodd.com to learn of all the ways that we can work together. And I will say the link and everything is all set up for my webinar on November 15th. So you can go to katiedodd.com to access that right now. And also, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when I did the live show, I forgot to plug in my nice microphone. So the sound quality might have been a little bit different. Hopefully the sound quality is a little bit better. So anyways, have the best week, and I'll catch you guys next week on the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. Bye, guys.